Welcome to section 1.2. So we're going to talk about the 11 different organ systems that make up the human body. And for organisms to survive, they have to be able to take in nutrients, get rid of wastes, and carry on different processes called metabolism. Because we're multicellular, we have to use organ systems to carry out all of the required activities. We're too large just to have single cells do these processes for us. So we have 11 different organ systems, and we're going to briefly discuss each of them. The first organ system, which we'll discuss more intimately in Chapter 5, is the integumentary system, which the main component is skin, but we also have accessory components like our nails, our hair, as well as salivary glands, sebaceous glands, and some major functions. One of those functions is protection from anything that tries to get into the body through the skin. But it also functions in maintaining temperature regulation and in producing vitamins for other organ systems. The skeletal system, which is in chapters 6 through 9, is composed of our bones, and where our bones meet together, we have joints. There are other accessory structures like tendons and ligaments that we'll talk about as well when we get to that section. Function of the skeletal system is to give us a structure, to maintain body structure, to give us a site for muscles to attach so that we can move our body, as well as for storing fats and certain calcium, phosphate ions, as well as having a site for blood cell production. A muscular system, which is found in chapters 10 and 11, has the major component is skeletal muscle. There are 3 types of muscles in the body, but when we talk about the muscular system, we're talking about skeletal muscle. And skeletal muscle functions in movement of the body. It attaches to our bones and then allows us to move. A byproduct of movement is heat production, so it also helps in producing heat. The other 2 muscles that we have in the body are cardiac muscle and smooth muscle. We will talk about those throughout the different semesters, cardiac and the cardiovascular system. The nervous system, a huge system, is composed of the brain, spinal cord, and all of the nerves. There are a lot of receptors. Some of those receptors are going to be very large, and so structures like the ears and the eyes, which are organs. And then we're going to have some receptors that are very small, just little tiny receptors like the axons or dendrites dendrites that'll pick up information, and then axons that send the information out to the different regions of our body. The function of the nervous system is to generate action potentials and control changes in the body rapidly. So you pick something up that's hot, you set it down before you burn yourself. If you step on a nail, you can move your foot before it actually gets in through the skin. The endocrine system is your long-lasting system, messenger system, composed of all the endocrine organs, and it functions in helping to maintain blood pressure, as well as temperature regulation of the body. It helps in maintaining metabolic processes of the body and carries out reproductive processes. The cardiovascular system is composed of the heart, blood vessels, as well as blood, and its main function is to carry nutrients to our cells and then carry waste products away from our cells. The lymphatic system, this is a very important organ system that functions mainly in protection. So from specific invaders of the body. So we have non-specific defenses, but our B and T lymphocytes function in specific defenses. So they're going to attack pathogens that they recognize, and they do a really good job at it. The respiratory system is your system that brings in oxygen to our cells. We need oxygen for one major job. So if you don't know it, I'm going to tell you it, but I'll ask you it later, so remember it. Oxygen is required for energy production, so cell respiration. And it's the respiratory system that allows us to respirate. Make sense? That's one way I think of it. So its main job is to bring oxygen to our tissues and get rid of waste products, carbon dioxide. But it has other functions as well. The digestive system is your system that takes in nutrients and gets rid of waste products. So we take in nutrients at the mouth and we get rid of waste at the anus. Nutrient absorption occurs mainly in the small intestines. The urinary system functions mainly in filtering blood and getting rid of waste from the blood. But we keep the nutrients in. So we filter, then we absorb all the good stuff and secrete any bad stuff that can get filtered out. The last system is the reproductive system. The reproductive system, mainly composed of your ovaries or your testes, functions in producing gametes. And these gametes, if they come together, form a new organism that is genetically unique from both mom and dad. These are some questions that you can try to figure out the answers to. These are similar to questions I might ask on an exam, so they're good to practice. So now we're going to get into section 1.3. Before we get to the checkpoint questions, I want to go through this because that section was pretty short. So now we're going to talk about characteristics associated with all living things. So one of the first characteristics is all living processes, or all living organisms, have to be organized. We're all organized in some fashion. For humans, we start at that chemical level, so the atoms make up small molecules that make up your macromolecules, that make up your cells. Cells make up tissues. Tissues make up organs. Organs make up organ systems, and organ systems make the organism. And so here we can see that we have these different atoms make up DNA. DNA codes for protein production, and here we have a smooth muscle cell. Smooth muscle cells come together, forming the different layers of the stomach. The stomach then, combined with all the other digestive organs, makes up the digestive system, and with the other 10 organ systems makes up the organism. All living things have to be able to maintain homeostasis. So homeostasis is the ability to maintain any variable within certain parameters. So temperature, the amount of carbon dioxide in our blood, the amount of sugar in our blood. Those are different variables. And the ability to maintain them within a certain parameter means we're in homeostasis. So the parameter can, vary slightly. So we're not keeping the variable static. It's not going to stay at one area. It might move up, it might move down slightly, but it's not going to go out of whack. That's when we are in problem city, and we're going to end up being diseased or something. There are three structures that are associated with the homeostatic mechanism. The receptor, which takes in information, the control center, which determines what has to happen with the information, and then the effector, which carries out the response. All living things also have to be able to maintain or to metabolize. So when most people think of metabolism, they think, oh, slow metabolism or fast metabolism determines your weight. But metabolism is much more than that. And so this is more like what your metabolism looks like. So, and this is just looking at very few metabolic activities, but it's a very complex process. But you don't have to know all the complexities of it. What you do need to know is that metabolism can be broken into two major functions. Catabolic activities, where we take larger molecules and break them into smaller ones, and anabolic activities, which build up larger molecules from smaller ones. All living things have to be able to respond to stimuli, and we're going to move in some fashion. So here are some different responsive activities. We respond to pain stimuli. We respond to sweet stimuli or to tasty things. We also respond to temperature changes. We respond to stimuli, and when we respond, we're going to do something. So if I pick up something that's hot, I immediately will set it down. If I put something that is really tasty in my mouth, I'm going to likely chew to break down those molecules and then swallow and absorb the nutrients. If I am really cold, what am I going to do? I'm going to start shivering, which brings up my body temperature, because muscles, when they are used, produce heat as a byproduct. Living things also grow and develop. So we all started as a single cell, and that single cell, called a zygote, eventually produced multiple cells, and those cells differentiated into specialized cells, stem cells that were going to then become something else. And so I just like this cartoon. I'm so confused. He's a little baby stem cell. You know, when I was a little stem cell, I didn't know what I wanted to be either. Kind of funny little thing. And so here is a stem cell. This is a hemocytoblast. It's the cell that produces all of our blood. So once it differentiates, it's going to either become a myeloid stem cell or a lymphoid stem cell. A myeloid stem cell is going to differentiate into a proerythroblast, a myeloblast, a monoblast, or a megakaryoblast. A lymphoid stem cell is going to produce a lymphoblast. That's it. Okay? And all living things have to be able to reproduce. So reproduction, kind of talked about it in the reproductive system. Females produce eggs, males produce sperm. They come together through a process called fertilization. A zygote is formed, and that zygote will undergo multiple mitotic divisions and specializations to form new human that is genetically different from both mom and dad. And at this point, we've finished both sections 1.2 and 1.3. So you can answer questions 3 through 6 of the checkpoints. When you answer them, add them directly to the saved document that you did when you answered the questions for section 1.1, and that will get uploaded at the end of the chapter, okay? I'll talk to you a little bit. Bye.